Eric Thompson had always been the quiet type, the guy who blended into the background of bustling New York City like a shadow in a skyscraper canyon. Born and raised in a small Midwestern town, he'd escaped to the Big Apple after college, chasing dreams of becoming a playwright. But life had a way of scripting its own twists. At 22, fresh out of NYU, he'd met Alex Rivera at a rooftop party in Williamsburg. Alex was everything Eric wasn't: charismatic, with sun-kissed skin from his California roots, a laugh that could light up a room, and eyes like the Pacific Ocean on a stormy day. They bonded over cheap beer and shared stories of feeling out of place in a world that didn't quite understand them. That night, under a canopy of string lights, Alex had leaned in close, his breath warm against Eric's ear. "You're different, Eric. You see things no one else does." It was the spark that ignited something deep within Eric, a flame he'd carried silently for years. But Alex, a rising star in the advertising world, was always one step ahead, chasing promotions, parties, and fleeting flings. Eric became the reliable friend, the one who picked up the pieces after Alex's heartbreaks, who listened to his rants about work over late-night diner coffee, who suppressed his own desires because admitting them might shatter their fragile bond. Years blurred into a monotonous haze. Eric poured his unrequited love into his plays, staging off-Broadway productions that echoed his inner turmoil. One, Silent Echoes, even got some buzz, but success felt hollow without Alex noticing the real him. Alex dated women publicly, maintaining a facade for his conservative family back in LA. But Eric knew the truth from stolen glances and whispered confessions in dimly lit bars. "I'm not ready," Alex would say, his hand lingering too long on Eric's shoulder. "Give me time." Time. Eric gave him a decade of it. He watched Alex climb the corporate ladder, move into a sleek Manhattan apartment, and cycle through relationships that never lasted. Eric dated too, sporadically. Guys who were kind but couldn't touch the void Alex had carved in his heart. There was Mark, the artist from Queens, who painted Eric's portrait but couldn't capture his soul. And then Jake, the lawyer with a sharp wit. But their nights together always ended with Eric staring at the ceiling, thinking of Alex. The breaking point came on a crisp autumn evening in Central Park. Eric had mustered the courage to confess. Again. They sat on a bench near Bethesda Fountain, leaves swirling like confetti around them. "Alex, I can't do this anymore. I love you. I have for years." Alex's face paled, his eyes darting away. "Eric, you're my best friend. Don't ruin this." The words sliced through Eric like a knife. He stood, nodded, and walked away, the fountain's spray masking his tears. For months, Eric ghosted Alex's calls and texts. He threw himself into a new project, a play about lost love and redemption, set against the gritty backdrop of American dreams deferred. But the pain festered. One night, after a particularly grueling rehearsal, he met up with an old flame, Tyler, at a gay bar in Hell's Kitchen. Tyler was bold, unapologetic, everything Alex wasn't. They danced under strobe lights, bodies pressing close, and for the first time in years, Eric felt seen. But as Tyler's lips met his, guilt washed over him. Was this betrayal? No, he told himself. Alex had betrayed him first by ignoring what was right in front of him. Word got back to Alex through mutual friends. A tense confrontation followed at Eric's cramped Brooklyn apartment. "What the hell, Eric? You're seeing Tyler now." Alex stormed in, his face flushed with anger and something deeper, jealousy. Eric stood his ground. "You had your chance. Multiple chances. I'm done waiting." Alex paced, running hands through his hair. "It's not that simple. My family, my job. They'd never understand." Eric's laugh was bitter. "And I do? I've understood for too long." Alex left in a huff, slamming the door, leaving Eric to collapse on the floor, sobbing. The decision to leave New York crystallized that winter. Eric accepted a teaching position at a small liberal arts college in Seattle, a fresh start far from the memories that haunted every street corner. He packed his life into boxes, donated half his wardrobe, and said quiet goodbyes to friends. The night before his flight, he wandered the city one last time, ending up at the Brooklyn Bridge. The rain started as he reached the midpoint, the city lights blurring through the downpour. Clutching that old photo from their first meeting, two young men grinning foolishly, he whispered his farewell. But fate, or perhaps desperation, intervened. As Eric turned to leave, his phone lit up. Alex's name flashed. "Don't go. Please. I'm at the airport. Wait for me." Eric's heart raced. Was this real, or another false promise? He hesitated, the river roaring below, then pocketed the phone and hailed a cab to JFK. The drive felt eternal, rain-slicked streets reflecting his turmoil. What if Alex didn't show? What if he did? Alex arrived at JFK breathless, his suit rumpled from the frantic cab ride across the city. He scanned the departure's terminal, heart pounding, until he spotted Eric near the check-in counter, duffel bags slung over his shoulder, looking every bit the man ready to vanish. "Eric!" Alex called, weaving through the crowd. Eric turned, his expression a storm of surprise and wariness. "What are you doing here? I couldn't let you leave without this." Alex pulled out a crumpled envelope from his pocket, thrusting it into Eric's hands. Inside was a letter, scrawled in Alex's hasty script, confessing everything. The fear that had kept him silent, the love he'd buried under layers of denial. "I've been an idiot, a coward, but losing you, that's worse than any fallout." Eric read it under the harsh fluorescent lights, his eyes welling. Travelers bustled around them, oblivious to the drama unfolding. "Why now, Alex? After all these years?" Alex stepped closer, his voice low. "Because when I heard you were leaving, it hit me like a freight train. I imagined a life without you, and it was empty. I told my family everything last night. Came out to them. It was messy. My dad hung up, but I'm done hiding." The announcement for Eric's flight echoed overhead. He glanced at the board, then back at Alex. "I can't just unpack my life on a whim." Alex grabbed his arm gently. "Then let me come with you, or stay and fight for us. Please." Eric pulled away, conflicted. Part of him wanted to believe, but the scars ran deep. "I need time. Alone." He boarded the plane, leaving Alex standing there, defeated. Seattle welcomed Eric with its perpetual drizzle and vibrant coffee scene, a stark contrast to New York's relentless energy. He settled into a cozy apartment in Capitol Hill, the gay-friendly neighborhood buzzing with pride flags and artisanal shops. Teaching creative writing at the college invigorated him. His students' fresh perspectives reminded him of his own youthful dreams. But Alex's letter haunted him, tucked away in a drawer like a Pandora's box. Alex didn't give up. He started with texts, simple ones, sharing memes or articles about plays Eric might like. Then calls, late at night, his voice laced with California sunshine even from afar. "Remember that time we got lost in the subway after your first show? I missed those adventures." Eric resisted at first, keeping responses curt. But cracks formed. One evening, after a lonely dinner, he called back. "Why fight now? You ignored me for so long." Alex sighed over the line. "I was scared, Eric, of losing my job, my family, but mostly of hurting you if I couldn't commit. I dated others to convince myself I wasn't, but it was always you." The confession unlocked something in Eric. They talked for hours, bridging the miles with stories of their separate lives. Alex shared how he'd quit his high-pressure job to freelance, giving him freedom to explore his identity. "I'm seeing a therapist, working through it all." As winter thawed into spring, their conversations deepened. Eric opened up about his own fears, of being the perpetual second choice, of loving someone who might bolt again. Alex listened, patient, vowing change. Then came the surprise. Alex flew to Seattle unannounced, showing up at Eric's classroom door with a bouquet of wildflowers. "I had to see you," the students whispered excitedly as Eric led him out, heart fluttering. They spent the weekend exploring the city, Pike Place Market's chaotic charm, a ferry ride to Bainbridge Island where they held hands openly for the first time. Under the stars at Gasworks Park, Alex kissed Eric, soft and tentative, then passionate. "I love you, Eric Thompson. Always have." Eric melted into it, years of longing released in that moment. But doubt lingered. What if this is just a reaction to me leaving? Back in his apartment, over homemade pasta, Alex revealed the betrayal that had shaped him. In college, he'd been in a secret relationship with a teammate on the soccer team, only for the guy to out him to friends in a drunken rage, leading to bullying that forced Alex to transfer schools. "I swore I'd never risk that again. But with you, it's worth it." Eric's empathy swelled. He shared his own story of a high school crush gone wrong, the rejection that made him guarded. Their reunion wasn't all bliss. Conflict arose when Alex suggested moving to Seattle. "I can work from anywhere." Eric hesitated. "What about your life in New York?" Arguments flared, about commitment, about past hurts. One night it escalated. "You think you can just waltz in and fix everything?" Eric shouted. Alex fired back. "I'm trying. What more do you want?" Eric stormed out, wandering the rainy streets, questioning if love was worth the pain. He returned hours later to find Alex asleep on the couch, a note beside him. "I'll fight for us, but only if you want me to." Eric woke him with a kiss, whispering, "I do." They made love that night, tender and raw, bodies entwining like souls long separated. In the afterglow, Eric traced Alex's scars, literal and metaphorical. "We both have baggage." Alex smiled. "Let's unpack it together." But fate tested them further. Back in New York for a visit, Eric discovered Alex had been seeing someone casually before his confession. A guy named Ryan, who showed up at Alex's old apartment, demanding answers. "You ghosted me for him?" Ryan sneered. Eric felt the stab of betrayal. "You said you were done hiding." Alex explained it was nothing serious, a rebound, but the damage was done. Eric fled back to Seattle, blocking Alex's number. Isolation gripped Eric like the Pacific fog rolling over Puget Sound. He threw himself into his work, revising his play into a full production set for a local theater festival. The story mirrored his life. A man ignored by his love, leaving only to be pursued across the country. Rehearsals became therapy, actors embodying his pain. But nights were lonely, filled with what-ifs. Friends urged him to move on. "He's not worth it," his colleague Sarah said over brunch at a Capitol Hill cafe. Eric nodded, but his heart rebelled. Alex, undeterred, went old school. He sent letters, handwritten, poetic, detailing memories and promises. "Remember our first Broadway show? You cried during the finale. I wanted to hold you then." One included a ticket to New York. "Come see my new life, without secrets." Eric ignored them at first, stacking them unopened. But curiosity won. He read them all in one sitting, tears staining the pages. The turning point came during a stormy night. A knock at his door revealed Alex, soaked and shivering. "I drove across the country, 3 days straight. I couldn't wait anymore." Eric stared, anger bubbling. "You lied about Ryan." Alex nodded, eyes downcast. "It was stupid, a distraction from facing my feelings for you. But it's over. For good." He pulled out his phone, showing deleted contacts, therapy notes. "I'm all in, Eric. No more half measures." They talked through the night, dissecting the betrayal. Alex admitted his flaws, fear of vulnerability, using others as shields. "I hurt you, and I'll spend forever making it right." Eric shared his own insecurities, the years of feeling invisible. Dawn broke as they reached an understanding, forgiveness tentative but real. "One more chance," Eric said. "But if you falter," Alex pulled him close. "I won't." Their relationship bloomed anew, bicoastal at first. Alex split time between New York gigs and Seattle visits, building trust mile by mile. They explored America's heartland on road trips, driving through the Rockies, camping under stars in Yellowstone, sharing stories by campfires. In Chicago, they attended Pride, marching hand in hand, Alex's first public display. "This is freedom," he whispered. Highs mingled with lows. Alex's family reconciliation was rocky. His mother reached out, tentative, while his father remained silent. Eric supported him through tearful calls. In return, Alex attended Eric's play premiere, front row, applauding loudest. The review in the Seattle Times called it a poignant exploration of love's resilience, mirroring their journey. But conflict reared again when Eric's ex, Tyler, resurfaced. Now a successful gallery owner, Tyler invited Eric to an exhibit, flirting shamelessly. "You deserve better than a guy who took forever to commit." Eric rebuffed him. But Alex, visiting that weekend, overheard and exploded. "Is this payback for Ryan?" Accusations flew, jealousy, insecurity. Eric yelled, "Trust me, like I'm trusting you." Alex left for a hotel, both stewing. The next day, Alex returned with coffee and apologies. "I overreacted. but seeing him, it reminded me how close I came to losing you. They reconciled in a park, picnicking amid cherry blossoms. We're both works in progress, Eric said. Alex nodded. As long as we're progressing together. Summer brought a proposal, not marriage but commitment. On a hike in the Cascades, Alex knelt by a waterfall. Move in with me. In Seattle, New York, wherever. Let's build a home. Eric, breathless from the climb and emotion, said yes. They celebrated with a kiss, water misting around them like blessings. Yet the past shadows lingered. A call from Alex's father shattered the peace. If you're choosing this life, don't come home for holidays. Alex hung up, devastated. Eric held him as he cried, offering comfort. Family isn't just blood. We can make our own. They hosted a Friendsgiving in Seattle, surrounded by allies, toasting to chosen families. As autumn leaves fell, Eric's play toured to New York. Opening night at a small theater in the village was electric. Alex stood backstage, nervous. After the curtain call, he pulled Eric aside. That was us up there. And look how far we've come. Eric smiled, pulling him into the spotlight for a bow. The audience cheered, unaware of the real story behind the fiction. But beneath the triumph, a deeper conflict brewed. Eric received an offer for a Broadway workshop, his dream. It meant moving back to New York full-time. What about us? Alex asked, fear in his eyes. Eric reassured him. We'll make it work, like we have. Alex agreed, but tension simmered. The move strained them. New York's pace reignited Alex's old habits. Late nights at networking events, temptations lurking. One evening, Eric found a text from Ryan on Alex's phone. Miss our talks. Alex swore it was innocent, but doubt crept in. Are you slipping back? Eric demanded. Alex denied it, but the argument escalated. Maybe we're forcing this, Alex snapped. Eric, hurt, packed a bag. Fine. I'm done fighting. He crashed with a friend in Brooklyn, echoing his earlier escape. Alex called relentlessly, but Eric ignored him, focusing on rehearsals. The play's climax, a betrayal scene, hit too close. During a run-through, he broke down, sobbing on stage. The director comforted him. Use it. Make it real. Alex refused to let history repeat. He showed up at the theater the next day, flowers in hand, audience to a rehearsal. Eric, please. That text was nothing. Ryan reached out. I shut it down. Eric, from the stage, glared. It's not just that. It's the pattern. Ignoring, then chasing. Alex climbed the steps, voice echoing in the empty house. I'm breaking the pattern. Here now. They aired grievances publicly, raw and unfiltered. Alex admitted his flaws again. I was weak before, but you've made me stronger. Eric, tears streaming, confessed his own. I ran because I'm scared of happiness. The cast watched, moved, as they embraced. Let's fight together this time, Alex said. Eric nodded. Deal. Reconciliation deepened their bond. They sought couples therapy, unpacking years of baggage in a cozy office overlooking Central Park. Sessions were intense. Tears, laughter, breakthroughs. Love isn't a fairy tale, the therapist said. It's work. They committed, emerging closer. Life stabilized. Eric's play hit Broadway to acclaim, reviews praising its emotional depth. Alex launched a queer-focused ad agency, championing representation. They bought a brownstone in Harlem, filling it with art, books, and memories. Weekends were for lazy brunches, walks in the park, intimate dinners where they shared dreams. But the story's humanity shone in quieter moments. Alex reconciled with his mother over Zoom. She visited, tentative hugs evolving to acceptance. Eric mentored young LGBTQ writers, paying forward the support he'd craved. They volunteered at a youth center, helping kids navigate coming out in a still unforgiving world. One anniversary, they returned to the Brooklyn Bridge. No rain this time, just a sunset painting the sky. Alex pulled out a ring. Marry me? For real? Eric laughed through tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. They wed in a small ceremony at City Hall, friends cheering, the city their witness. Years passed, challenges came, health scares, career dips, but they faced them united. Eric's plays toured nationally, inspiring audiences with themes of redemption. Alex's agency thrived, amplifying marginalized voices. Their love, once ignored, became a beacon. In the end, it wasn't a fairy tale, but something better. Real, resilient, human. Eric looked back on those ignored years not with bitterness, but gratitude. They forged the man who fought to return. As they aged gracefully in their Harlem home, surrounded by photos of adventures, Seattle rains, rocky vistas, pride parades, Eric whispered to Alex one night, "You were worth the wait." Alex smiled. "And you were worth the fight." Their story, whispered in plays and shared at dinners, reminded others. Love ignored can bloom if fought for. In America's vast tapestry, theirs was a thread of hope, proving that even in division, connection endures. Eric and Alex, once divided by fear, united by courage, lived out their days in the warmth of hard-won love.